Sick of spending money on yet another disappointing paint color? If so, watch this video for my foolproof method describing how to choose the perfect paint color for any room in your home. Hi design enthusiasts, I'm Val Malner from Orange Tree Interiors, and welcome to Design Refresh, where I share helpful tips that help you breathe new life into your home through interior design. Today, I'm going to teach you how to choose the perfect paint color. By the end of this short video, you'll have a paint color that you not only love, but also looks great in your space. For the best interior design and decorating tips, subscribe to my channel below and hit the bell to be notified each time I release new tips so you don't miss out on any information that could help you with your next interior design project. Let's get started then. Step 1 is sourcing. Head on down to your local paint store, hardware store, or wherever it is that you buy paint in your town and browse through the samples that they have. Make sure to bring a pen or a pencil and a file folder with you. It'll make it easier for you to indicate which paint colors you love. No need to be too picky or choosy right now. Just pull out any samples that really speak to you and put a little star on the ones that you liked best. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can forget which ones were your favorites if you don't mark them down. When you have a bunch of paint samples that you're happy with, put them all in that file folder that you brought to keep them all in one spot and to keep them safe from getting damaged. Do not buy any paint at this time. Instead, we're going to move on to step 2. Narrow your choices. Now that you have all your paint samples chosen, bring them home and in the daylight, spread all your samples out on a table. If you have a white tablecloth, then put the tablecloth out first because it will help to give the paint samples a frame of reference. If you think you see undertones of certain paint colors in your paint samples, you probably do. In some cases, you might not like a certain color and therefore you want to avoid it. One way to help you see the undertones better is to fan the paint samples together so that the colors are overlapping. You'll then be able to notice the undertones more easily, and therefore you can see which paint color is pulling the undertone that you're trying to avoid, and then you can eliminate that particular paint color. Now, the reason why you want to bring the paint samples home with you instead of reviewing them in the store is because the lighting in the store is going to be much different than the natural lighting and lighting in your home. So we want to make sure that that's the place that we're picking the color that we truly like. Once you have all your samples laid out on your table, eliminate the ones that you no longer like. Try to narrow it down to about 5 paint colors maximum, and then set them aside to view them in the evening hours when it's dark outside and your lights are on. You'll notice that each color looks slightly different. Eliminate any color that you no longer like the look of. And then once you have it down to 2 or 3 colors, then you're ready to get serious about picking the perfect paint color for your space. Step 3, create your own paint samples. Let's face it, these little itty bitty paint sample cards that we get at the paint stores, they just won't cut it when we're trying to visualize how a paint color is going to look on our walls. So I'm going to task you with making your own paint samples. You're going to need some thick paper stock, about 80 pounds should do it, or some Bristol board. You'll also need painter's tape, a few paint brushes, or mini rollers, whichever you prefer, and the sample paint pots for the paint colors that you chose. Please don't spend a ton of money on this, folks. I buy most of my supplies at the dollar store. Once you have all your supplies ready, you're good to start creating. If you bought paper stock, then go ahead and paint 1 color per sheet of paper. If you bought Bristol board, you'll need to cut it first. Whether you used paper stock or Bristol board, one key tip here is to use painter's tape to run a line of tape along all 4 edges of the paper stock or Bristol board so that you don't paint it and you leave a white edge behind. The reason that we do this is that we don't want the current wall color to influence the new wall color, which is why I'm not telling you to paint directly onto the walls, which is a mistake I think that a lot of people make. By leaving a white border around each paint color, you'll be able to imagine how the paint color will look on the wall and against trim without being influenced by the current wall color. Here's what it looks like. Am I making sense here? If I am, give me a yes in the comments below. Okay, so once you have your homemade paint samples painted, set them aside and leave them to dry so that we can move on to step 4. Step 4, review and reveal. Remember what we did in step 2? Well, we're going to do it all over again, but on a larger scale. Take those paint samples that you created and remove the painter's tape from around the edges. It should end up looking something like this. The next thing we're going to do is hang them up on the wall. Remember to put the name of each color on the back of your paint samples so you don't get confused later. So here's what it's going to look like. You'll have your 2 or 3 paint colors up on your wall side by side so that you can compare them. Remember to do this in different lights. So if you're doing this in the daylight hours, then check it out, note which one you like the best, and then come back again in the evening hours, turn the lights on, and check again. You want to make sure you like this color in all lights. If you have the time, repeat this process with all the walls in the room. If you don't have the time, then just make sure you put it on the wall that you will be looking at the most when you're in that room. One final thing to factor in is when you use the room the most. If you're having a hard time deciding between your 2 or 3 colors, then pick the color that you like the best at the time that you use the room the most. That made sense in my head, but does it make sense right now? If it does, give me a yes in the comments. Let me give an example to explain what I mean better. So what I mean is, if you're painting your living room and you work in the daytime and you don't actually use your living room normally until the kids have gone to bed in the evening hours, then you want to pick the color that you like the best in the evening hours after the kids have gone to bed. Make sense? If it does, give me a yes in the comments. As a little sidebar, how about a little audience participation? I'm painting my office, and these are the 3 colors that I've narrowed my choices down to. Which color do you like best? I've got Halo, Revere Pewter, or Collingwood. Put your favorite in the comments below. I look forward to tallying the votes. All right, that's pretty much it. You should have your perfect paint color picked out and be ready to move on to step 5, which is to paint. If you know what you're doing, then go ahead and start rolling. Okay, I know that was pretty cheesy, but you should know that I'm a little cheesy. If you're not an avid painter, then I recommend contacting Wow One Day Painting. They're professional, reasonably priced, and they get the job done in one day. It's so convenient. And if you're like me, you value convenience, so they're the people to call. So that's pretty much it, folks. I hope you found these tips helpful. If you liked this video, let me know by liking it below, subscribe, and share it with your fellow design enthusiasts or DIYers. And if you'd like to see more helpful videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell to make sure you get notified each time I release new content. Now you know how to choose the perfect paint color, but what about how to choose coordinating paint colors to use throughout the rest of your home? Learn how to coordinate paint colors like a pro with my Coordinating Paint Colors guide. The link is in the description below. And don't forget to pick up your perfect paint color checklist while you're there. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy decorating.